Hello boys and girls, welcome to my Premier League player ratings for the season 18-19. Now I know there is still one game left to go, and that is the Europa League final in Baku. And that could ultimately change the way we look at the season in general. It could either be a big success or it could be an absolute failure. But I'm going to do these ratings for the players based on what they have done in the Premier League. There's been some good performances. There's been some bad performances. What I will say from the beginning is players like Hector Bellerin, Rob Holding, Danny Welbeck, I'm not going to mark them because they've missed for, you know, the majority of the season. It'd be unfair because they've been out with the injury and everything else. Also, players like Cole Jenkinson, Mavropanos, I'm not going to be marking them because they've not really had any involvement in the Premier League. Same as the youngsters as well, Eddie Nketiah, Joe Willock. Not really had that much of an impact or involvement within the Premier League. So I'm going to kind of mark the players that have been prominent throughout the course of the season. And I'm going to be open and honest as I usually am. So starting off in goal, Petr Cech. And of course, he started off the season as our #1 goalkeeper. Now, you remember that first game against Manchester City? It was like a game of FIFA when you keep pressing the button and you press the wrong one. And he nearly scored from a kick out. Absolutely dreadful, that game. And it was pretty evident very early that he was struggling to deal with the kind of way that Unai Emery wanted him to play, which is out from the back with his feet. He got injured in a game against Watford and the rest is history. Byrne Leno took over and Petr Cech was resigned to the Europa League. Now, of course, he will play in that Europa League final. I don't think that Unai Emery is going to change things. He's had some good performances along the way, but at the same time, he's had some performances which are still a little ropey. But I think I'm being pretty honest with what I say here, and I will give Petr Cech a 6 for his season contribution. Next up, we have Byrne Leno and new signing. And I'll tell you something, in this guy, I genuinely feel that we finally have a goalkeeper that we can look to for the next 10 plus years. He is so good. And you think how much we paid for him. He has been exceptional. He is one of my players of the season by a million miles. Standout save for me would have to be the one at Spurs when he made the initial save from Christian Eriksen and then the follow-up save from Sissoko. My word. Now, he has made a couple of errors along the way. Which goalkeeper doesn't make errors? David De Gea has made errors a lot this season, in fact. Alisson at Liverpool, even he's made errors. What you look at, though, over the course of 5 games, for example, is how many games he's good in and how many there might be the odd dodgy one. There's 1 out of 5 where you look at and you say, not that great, but 4, he's exceptional. For too many years, we've had goalkeepers where we have 1, you know, good game and 4 shit ones. No, not with Byrne Leno. Cannot wait to see him more next season. And I'm going to give him an 8 for the season. Going to move into the defence. Like I said, Hector Bellerin, we're not going to be marking him. So the first one up there is Stephan Lichtsteiner. Now, before the season started, I had high hopes of him. I actually thought that he could run Hector all the way and take his place. Came to Arsenal with a big reputation from Juventus. 7 Serie A titles in a row. Swiss captain. Looking at the pre-season games and everything else, he was doing well. Hector was getting roasted in a game against Chelsea and Hudson-Odoi. And I thought, you know what? Hector's going to struggle. And to start the season, Lichtsteiner done all right. And then he turned to shit. I don't know what the hell happened. Thankfully, we only had a year contract for him. And thankfully, we will not be renewing it. So thank you, Stephan Lichtsteiner. But that is it. And for the season, I will give him a 3. Next up, we're going to go with Ainsley Maitland-Niles because he has, of course, played in that right-back position. And kind of hit and miss for me. There's been some games, the Manchester United one, in particular, where he was exceptional. And you look at that and you think, you know what, if you can carry on performances like that, Hector will struggle to get back in the team next year. We don't need to go and strengthen in that right-hand side if you're producing performances like that. But it's been too inconsistent. There's games where he's been poor, then it'd be good, then poor, then good. I don't really know what much more I can say than that, really. And I'm going to give Maitland-Niles a 6 for the season. Going to move into centre defence. And first of all, like I said, no Mavropanos or Rob Holding in there. So the first one, we're going to go with the captain, Laurent Koscielny. Of course, it took a while before he came back into the side because of that Achilles injury in the semi-final last year against Atletico Madrid. But he's done well since he's come back. Took a while to rediscover some of his old self. But again, there's a couple of performances in there where you think a little bit ropey. But given the majority of the season that he's played and everything else, I'm going to give Koscielny a 6, to be quite honest with you. I can't really give him more than that, to be fair. Alongside him, I'm going to go with Mustafi. Here we go, Mustafi. What can I say? It'd be very easy to absolutely rip him a new one in this. But I don't think he's been as bad as some people may suggest. Statistically, he's actually looked like he's had a decent season. I see that stupid stat the other week saying that he's had a better one than Virgil van Dijk. Behave yourself, man. He has this odd tendency to play well, you know, in 1 or 2 games. And then he'll have 3 or 4 where he just defends like an absolute clown. Look at the Crystal Palace one. How much has that come back to bit us in the arse that we didn't win that game? When he just stands there like an absolute idiot, letting Sahar through. I'll give him a 4 for the season, to be honest. Next up, we have Socrates, another new signing, and he's been our best centre-back. One downside to him is his yellow cards, constantly getting banned and everything else. But it's about time we had that tough tackling, no-nonsense kind of defender. And he's done exactly that. I think he's done all right in his first season. And I'll give him a 7 for this season. Going to move to the left-back positions. First of all, we're going to go with Nacho Monreal. And again, a bit hit and miss, to be honest with you. Some performances good, some performances bad. He's had injuries and everything else. And to be quite honest, I can't give him more than a 6 for the season. Next up, we're going to go with Kolasinac. And again, another player that's very hit and miss. When we signed him and he came from the Bundesliga, he actually came with a very good reputation of assists. He actually got in the team of the season ahead of Alaba. And when I was watching videos of him, the amount of chances this guy was creating and the assists he was getting, I was thinking, wow, we finally got a player that can put a ball in the box. He comes to Arsenal and he can't do anything. He either hits it too short or too long. Energy and the way he works and everything else, you can't question that. But it's just his delivery. We need better than that. So I'm not going to give him more than a 6, to be quite honest with you. Next up, we have Mohammed Aaron. Not played a lot of football, to be quite honest with you. But when he has played, it hasn't been that great. I would say his best performance was probably the last game of the season against Burnley. But it's too little, too late. And I can't give him more than a 3 for the season. Next up, we're going to go with another new signing. And of course, that was Lucas Torreira. Started off the season, adapting to life at Arsenal, getting into the team slowly but surely. And then he was absolutely immense. For a couple of months, he was unbelievable. And everyone was talking about signing of the season. Then, of course, that first season syndrome kind of kicked in. He got a bit tired. He didn't have that winter break. His form dipped a little bit. It kind of picked up again in recent weeks. But I really can't wait to see him next year. He's an exceptional player. And he's still a young boy, remember that. And for the season, I'm going to give Torreira a 7. Next to him, we're going to go with Granit Xhaka. And this is the one where everyone's going to debate. And this will be the one where nobody agrees on whatsoever. What I will say about Xhaka is that he's been one of our most improved players this season. He's had some performances where he's done really well. But there's still that side of his game where he makes silly errors, giving away chances. Now, he has gave away errors that have led to goals. I believe there's 2 in the Premier League. And there might be some more in other competitions and whatnot. But if he cut that side of his game out, then there would, be no issues at all. But he's got that bad habit, that bad side of his game, man. And I don't like that. As much as I rate the guy, that needs to be cut out. But overall, he has improved immensely. And for the course of the season, I'll give Granit Xhaka a 6. Next up, we are going to go with Henrik Mkhitaryan. And waste of money, to be quite honest with you. We actually got the better deal with Alexis Sanchez. And I know that's not difficult. Alexis scored 1 league goal all season. Scored the same as Eddie Nketiah. But Mkhitaryan, so hit and miss. A few weeks back, he was playing really well for a couple of weeks. And then he got injured in the game against Manchester United or just before it. And then he's come back and he just looks shit. There's such indecisiveness and the crossing is poor and everything else is just not great. And for the kind of money we're paying for him, because he's got to be one of the ones that supplies players and everything else, I don't think it's been that great of a season. Like I said, very hit and miss. I'll give him a 4 for the season, to be honest. Next up, we're going to go with Aaron Ramsey. Very, very evident at the beginning of the season that he wasn't in Unai Emery's plans. Forced his way into the side, and then he was really, really good. And he's been a massive miss over the last month. I think we would have secured top 4 if Aaron Ramsey was in the side. Given the fact that he's missed a lot of games, hasn't started a lot, but he did have that big spell for a couple of months where he was so crucial, assists, goals and everything else. I'm going to give Aaron Ramsey a 7. Next up, we have the young lad, Matteo Guendouzi. And I don't think any of us thought that he would have played the amount of games that he has played this season. And there's talk about him getting a new contract and everything else and upping his wage to about 70k. I've got no problem with that because for once Arsenal are actually dealing with contracts properly. They're talking about Lacazette and Aubameyang, giving them longer contracts, 250 grand a week. Tie your best assets down so that issues like Aaron Ramsey, like Alexis and everything else does not happen again. So I've got no issues with this. And I think first season he's done really well. At the beginning, same as Torreira in a way, burst on the scene, absolutely fine. Then he dipped and tired a little bit and the physicality of the Premier League kind of caught up with him. But I think he's had a decent first season, to be quite honest with you. Bit part here and there. And I'm going to give him a 6 for the season. I think that's a fair assessment, to be quite honest with you. Next up, we have Alex Iwobi. And again, another player that is hit and miss. I think he's really improved under Unai Emery, but it's his final delivery. What can I say about his final delivery? It's shocking. The cross he put in for Aubameyang's second goal at Burnley, for example, superb. Shows he's got it within him. But it's consistency. He does not do it on a consistent basis. And if Arsenal are going to raise their levels to the next level, then we need Alex Iwobi to be up there with the likes of Raheem Sterling, with the likes of Leroy Sané. You know, players that you've got to be trying to emulate, to try and use as inspiration. But he's a million miles away from these type of players. I think he's done a little bit better than Mkhitaryan, but just flat as to deceive at times. And it's really, really frustrating. So yeah, that's what I'm going to go with. And I'm going to give him a 5. Next up, we're going to have Mesut Ozil. And this one will no doubt cause nothing but wars. What can I say? Only 2 assists for the season. But the one thing I will say is that he's created the most chances of any other Arsenal player. But the chances just have not been finished. It's one of those. He's had a horrible season, to be quite honest with you. There were moments earlier on in the season when you think of the Leicester game and you're thinking, wow, yes, this is what I'm talking about. Then there was the arguments with Unai Emery and everything else, and it just was a mess. He misses games because of illness, and then he comes back and he has a good game and a bad game, and it's just like, what can you do? To be quite honest with you. And to be honest, I'm going to go with kind of like down the middle, and I'm going to give him a 5 because he's created a lot of chances and there has been games where he's been exceptional, but it's not good enough. He's meant to be the talisman, and it's not about wages or anything like that. It's about leading by example, grabbing the game by the scruff of the neck, and that's what I want to see from Mesut Ozil. It's very clear that he's not leaving. His agent said he's got 2 years left. He's very happy. He's not going anywhere. And shifting a player like that on the wages that he's on is going to be very, very difficult when you look at his age as well. So we're just going to have to fit and adapt him in there. But if he's playing, he's got to perform. It's as simple as that. I love the guy, but if you're not performing, you don't play. Fix up, sort it out, and we'll be good next season. So I'm going to give Mesut Ozil a 5. Next up, we have Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Golden Boot winner. I think he could have won that outright, to be quite honest with you, if he'd took some of the chances that he has missed, but that's not a criticism. This guy is a lethal striker. 31 for the season, not out at the moment because we've still got the final to go. 5 in his last 2 games. He's got fire in his belly. He sacrificed himself by playing out wide for the majority of the season. Give this guy a winger. Oh my word, he will smash goals for fun. I'm telling you, simple as that. I'm going to give Aubameyang an 8 for the season. Golden Boot winner, been really, really good. And I think it's very harsh of people to try and blame the penalty miss against Spurs on us not qualifying for the top 4. Look at the defence and the problems we've had there. That lies why we have not finished 4th and above Spurs and everything else. Not because of Aubameyang. If it wasn't for him, then we wouldn't have even been near the top 4. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be in the Europa League final. Relax yourselves. Seriously. I'll give him an 8, like I said. Last up, we have Alexandre Lacazette, Player of the Year and my Player of the Year as well. He's been absolutely exceptional. Double figures for goals and assists. He has just been a breath of fresh air. He is loving life at Arsenal. If this new contract rumour is to be believed and £250 a week, he deserves it. He deserves it. He deserves to get the big wages. He deserves the big money. And he's one of our big assets. He's 27 years old, prime years. So if we tie him down now, someone wants him, you've got to come and pay ridiculous shitloads of money. Very good planning by Arsenal. That's what I like to see. But overall, the season, the way he's gelled with Aubameyang and everything, there's no selfishness. He clearly loves the club. I saw him warming up at Burnley and the players, you know, they were going towards the away fans and everyone was singing his name and he had the biggest smile on his face. He's so happy. He looks so proud to play for Arsenal Football Club. He is one of the players that we should be building round. It's as simple as that. And I'm giving him a 9 for the season. End of story. So there we go. That is the player ratings for the Premier League season. I'm no doubt there's going to be some arguments in the comment section as to whether you agree or disagree. Like I said, players like Lacazette, you need to be building your team around. Add to that Aubameyang, the likes of Lucas Torreira, Socrates, Byrne Leno. You have got a basis there for a very, very good side, but it's the other areas that you need to go and fix and deal with, especially in defence. So that is it. Like I said, let me know in the comment section whether you agree or disagree. If you're new around here, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you smash a like on this video. Until the next one, I will see you lot soon. I'm out of here.